I've been seeing more videos and more articles recently alleging that Prince Harry and Meghan appear to be on the brink of a separation. And so today I'm going to be taking a look at Prince Harry's chart to see what kind of planetary conditions are happening. And also, I'm going to take a look at this idea of if there's a divorce in the future, what would that look like for Prince Harry? So, we're really going to break that down. There's a specific house we look at to see the effects of something like a divorce. For those of you that are new to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get all of my updates and videos. I do videos on celebrities, royal family. I do monthly predictions and even teachings and important astrological transits. So you're going to want to make sure to follow my channel. If you're interested in a personal private reading, check down below for details. I am running a special discount for July, so check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up Prince Harry's chart. And a quick disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. And these are all allegedlys about Prince Harry, and I'm just merely speculating as to the astrological energies. So this is a Vedic astrology chart, by the way. So what I like to do is I'm looking at the Vimshatari Dasha, the planetary period that Prince Harry's in, and currently he's in Rahu Moon. So first of all, Rahu, like I've said in some of my other videos, it's in the sixth house, and the sixth house can represent uh, imbalance, divorce, and it can actually represent a contentious divorce. So he's definitely in an overall planetary period, which is called a Mahadasha, that suggests there's a breakup or a divorce that could happen within the within that major planetary period. And by the way, that ends March of 2025 is when the Rahu period ends. So all the way till March 2025, there's a strong energy of conflict. And if you think about it, not just conflict with a divorce or within his relationship, but think about his relationship with the royal family as well. That represents conflict, of course. The other thing to notice is the sub period. So we don't just look at Rahu because this is more of the generalized energy. We have to look at the Bhukti, which is the acute energy. It's more focused. So Moon, it's in the fifth house, which represents a focus on children right now. I know there's some different conspiracy theories on the children. We'll just focus on what the news says. So there's a focus on children at the moment with Moon being in the fifth house. It's activating the eighth house. And what's interesting is the eighth house can represent sudden splits, sudden divorces. Okay. Like this is usually when the partner leaves you like very quickly. I said in one of my other videos, it's like, have you ever thought about like when one partner shows up to the house or the apartment and like all of their clothes are gone and they just kind of left you? Well, that would be like eighth house. Let's clean up the chart here. And this period, by the way, of the eighth house of this suddenness, which could indicate a break, this period runs from now, which he's currently in it, till March 11th of 2024. However, the breakup could happen during this period. This is a pretty long period. It could happen because eighth house does represent that. But I also want to point out, I feel like the stronger energy is in the following period of Mars that's happening. So let me give you some caveats about why this may not happen. Although it could, there's some factors that are actually delaying this. Saturn is actually aspecting the eighth house with its 10th aspect in Prince Harry's chart. So the 10th aspect of Saturn, what it does is Saturn delays things and it slows things down. So eighth house can represent death and rebirth. It represents transformation. So somebody in a transformational state. Divorce is seen as a transformation of identity when we're looking at a Vedic astrology chart. It's like an old identity, and then you're reborn as this new person, post relationship. So when Saturn is aspecting it, there's this delay, there's this slowdown It's like being slowed down. And remember, Saturn is the voice of fear. So there could be some fears about, for example, because Moon is in the fifth house, there could be a fear about the children, what's going to happen there. And also, fear of, Prince Harry might even have fear about, you know, failing in a relationship, and then like, what is he gonna do? Go back home to the royal family? Like, there's a lot of fear with that. Like, what do you say at that point? If the relationship fails and he did all of these things, you know, it would be a very difficult situation. I would be very fearful about coming back, obviously. So that's what's kind of holding things together at the moment, is this Saturn's like this fear. Okay. So that would be the one thing that could be preventing this from happening, even though it's a period of the eighth lord where it could still happen. Okay. But I feel like the energy is more acute in a divorce or separation during the upcoming Mars period. And that's going to be from March 11th, 2024 to March 30th, 2025. That's about a year long period. So I know it's not an exact date. This stuff can be a little dicey. There can be discussions of a separation. There can be a divorce that goes on for many months. So, I mean, this thing could essentially last a year. So the first thing I want to point out is Mars itself is the planet of destroying things. So people sometimes think that Saturn destroys things. Saturn doesn't destroy things. Saturn causes misery. It can cause humiliation. Saturn can cause like difficult experiences, but Saturn doesn't destroy things. Actually, Mars destroys things. K2 destroys things. Okay. Now, if you're running a Mars or K2 period, it doesn't mean, that you have to be worried. It could be a very subtle destruction of a belief system or something like that. But it's a very destructive energy. So Mars in the chart, you'll notice, first of all, it's the planet that represents destruction of things. It's in the 12th house and it rules the 12th house. 12th house represents endings, and it also represents things like foreign countries and losses. Foreign countries and losses. Okay. Interesting. And it's conjoined K2. This is a really difficult period for Prince Harry. So that year period from like March 2024 to March 2025, this is going to be really difficult. Okay. And this is a feeling when you go through a period where K2 is involved, even though it's a Mars Bukti, it's like K2 is being activated. So I want you to realize that. So whenever you're in a K2 period, it can be some of the worst emotional traumas that you ever face. Like, so for example, have any of you ever been in a relationship or a job where you put a lot of time and energy into something? You put like everything into it, like you put all your chips or eggs in one basket, and it doesn't work out. Like, despite everything you did, it doesn't work out. The partner ends up leaving you. That's what this kind of energy is. So I actually feel like when I look at the chart, it's more Megan leaving him. It's not him leaving Megan. K2 is like being abandoned. Abandoned. I don't even know if I'm spelling it right. Abandoned. Okay. So abandoned, left behind, even though you're not necessarily knowing what to do. And the planetary period also suggests, by the way, it shows losses in foreign lands. So him being in the United States, that's a foreign land, well, according to Prince Harry, it shows losses. So likely, there's really nothing, no assets. I don't see any assets coming from this situation. And this is like leaving, just kind of like leaving this place. Like, I feel like if there's a divorce, there's really nothing more for him in the USA. And that's why I feel like in that Jupiter period, which is March of 2025, I feel like he's going to be back in the UK. Okay. And interestingly enough, Jupiter rules the fourth house, which represents homeland. It's in the first house. So I feel like he is going to be coming back during the Jupiter period after March of 2025. Okay. Now let me clean this up. Now, how would a divorce be? I want to look into this. How would a divorce be? What we look at if you go through a divorce, we always look at the eighth house. So in any of your charts, you can look at the eighth house and see what the effect of a divorce would be. The eighth house represents the marital estate, and it also represents like recovery. So like if you think about when you go through a divorce, it's like grieving almost like a death, because it's like the death of a relationship. A lot of people that go through divorce, they talk about like you go through all the stages of grief, like sadness, anger, even denial, all those stages. And so the eighth house is showing like how quickly do you go through those stages. Now some people, believe it or not, I mean, they bounce back so quick. Like you'll see people that they get divorced and they're in another relationship like day one. They're like ready to go. That's not in Prince Harry's case. Okay. Prince Harry, I likely feel like this is going to be emotionally quite devastating. Okay. This is going to be like not a fast recovery at all. Okay. In Megan's chart, I see a faster recovery from a divorce. Now, if you take a look at the eighth house, remember the Saturn aspect. This is the cruel planet. Okay. This is like making this idea of just like recovering, not just financially, emotionally, psychologically, just that recovering from this situation is going to take a long time. And I'm talking about like years. Okay. Years. And there might not be a lot of things, known by the media, but this is like years of effect, years of damage. And likely he's not going to get anything as far as financial assets, severely limited, severely restricted with Saturn being there. So usually when Saturn's involved, it's like you're worse off. After the divorce, you're worse off. Now, believe it or not, I told you about some people actually are better off after a divorce. So, for example, if he had Venus here or he had Jupiter here, maybe there would be like this more smooth transition and there was no Saturn aspect. There would be like this more gracious transition where we would see like a smoother transition and like a very quick, graceful recovery. That's what you would typically see when there's a benefic planet there. So, I find it quite interesting. I feel like it's going to be really difficult for Prince Harry. Now, I don't wish them bad, and I don't wish that they have a divorce. I don't wish any of it. Um, but I'm watching all the headlines in the tabloids, and everyone's saying apparently that the relationship isn't going good, that the bond seems to be, losing cohesion, so to speak. So it looks like a difficult road. Like I said, there could be a separation now, but I feel like it's delayed with that Saturn aspect. I feel like we're really going to see it beginning of 2024, although it could happen before. We could get an announcement before because of the eighth house. Thank you all for watching, and let me know down below what you think, of course, and take care of yourself until the next video.